Hey boys and girls, welcome to another super exciting, outrageous toy review. Today, we're taking a look at Luke Skywalker from the Kenner Star Wars toy line based on A New Hope. This action figure is often referred to by fans as Farm Boy Luke. I think that's really interesting that we don't just call him A New Hope Luke or Luke. This is how we were introduced to him. And the Farm Boy Luke thing is kind of demeaning, I think. But I sometimes call him that too because it's just so commonplace. I always think it's interesting how those names come about. He's Tatooine Luke, maybe. I don't know. This action figure does a great job of capturing the outfit of Luke Skywalker from the movie, but not really his likeness. The sort of round face with the mop of yellow hair doesn't really look like Mark Hamill that much. They were working with 70s sculpting technology. I totally get it. It's an awesome figure for its day and age. But I was really excited later on when the Power of the Force 2 came around and we eventually got heads that looked much more like Mark Hamill. This figure features the billowy white top Luke wears to stay cool in the desert. It has a nice belt sculpted on with a great belt buckle. Unfortunately, the buckle is unpainted. When you look at this figure, you can tell he's slightly yellowed. That's just from age. It's a real problem with white plastic on these vintage toys. You can see the belt there sculpted on. It goes all the way around. There is some sort of a pouch or a device sculpted here. It's not his monocular thing that he uses. Maybe it's that little remote he uses on R2-D2 or something like that. I'm not sure what it is, but it still gives him just a little bit of authenticity. He's got those sweet, sweet sand boots and the baggy tan trousers that get tucked into the boots. All around, pretty decent figure. For an accessory, Kenner developed a gimmicky lightsaber action feature for these toys, and it's pretty cool for its time. It's hokey when you look at it now. The lightsabers themselves are kind of lousy, but the idea that it can extend is pretty amazing, because that is kind of the coolest part of the lightsaber in the movie. In the first movie, they just don't use them for much, so the lightsaber igniting is probably the most exciting part in A New Hope. So there's a little tab underneath his arm, and when I slide that out, the lightsaber extends. Now you can see the lightsaber is a thick rod with a little tassel-y thing on the end. Originally, the lightsabers were double telescoping, meaning the little tassel-y piece slid inside the rod, and then the rod slid inside his arm. These were released as part of the early bird kit, and I think a few made it onto cards, but they found them to be so fragile that they quickly switched it over to this one-piece lightsaber, and in my opinion, they should have dropped the tassel and just made the rod a little longer. The whole thing is hard to put in and out of the arm. I don't think you were really supposed to remove it, but kids did, and that bends up the tassel quite a bit. As a kid, I played Star Wars almost every single weekend with my best friend Derek. We were both collecting action figures. We weren't buying any of them at the stores because they were pretty much out of stores at this point. And we were just grabbing them at flea markets and yard sales. Derek's uncle, who was an adult toy collector, would occasionally send him figures that he had bought, I guess at yard sales also, that were missing pieces and stuff as he upgraded his collection. And so Derek had a pretty wide range of characters, but I was the first of the two of us to get a Farm Boy Luke. I was very excited about it. I was also the second person to get a New Hope Luke. I found one that was pretty badly yellowed at a little yard sale type thing at the local grocery store that was called Clemens at the time. And they used to do like a little street fair kind of thing some Sundays. And we would go to the grocery store after church, and I would look around for stuff there while my mom was shopping. And I found a second one. Like I said, he was very yellowed. I gave him to Derek because Derek didn't have Farm Boy Luke. About a year ago, I was at a flea market in New Jersey, and I found a vintage Luke Skywalker with his lightsaber accessory, and I thought, this is awesome, and I bought it for like $1 or maybe $2. I was really excited. He was in great shape. He had his lightsaber. I knew he wasn't yellowed at all. And the more I thought about it, I was like, something's off. He doesn't feel right. The lightsaber looks weird. I did think maybe the lightsaber was a bootleg, because Star Wars accessories are bootlegged quite frequently. And then I remembered that there were a reissue. There were reissues of 4 Star Wars figures. Han, Luke, Chewie, and Darth Vader in a box set in the 90s. And when I flipped him over and took a peek on the back of his leg, I realized he was the reissue. I'm not really upset that I bought one that was a reissue, but I'm just letting you guys know, so if you're in the market for a Luke Skywalker and you really want him to be the vintage one, that you can keep an eye out for this. By the way, look at the reissue's lame foot. This guy does not stand well at all. You can see there's a major difference in the lightsabers. The reissue one over here on the end, the little tassel-y part, is much thicker. Kind of looks better. It's probably way more durable, but it's not really accurate to what the vintage figure came with. Why did Luke come with a yellow lightsaber? That has been something that's bugged me for years. Did Kenner not know what color his lightsaber was going to be? Before they did the visual effects, they all just look white. And even in the movies, some scenes, they all just kind of look white. So maybe that's what they thought it was going to look like, just a glowing stick. They knew Ben's was blue. They knew Vader's was red. Did they just want us to have a different color? There have been other Star Wars products made with yellow blades. Always thought that was very, very weird. My solution to this as a kid, one, I didn't own a lightsaber accessory at all. I didn't own any Star Wars accessories when I was a kid because all my figures came secondhand. But I also don't think I would have wanted to play with this short little stubby yellow thing with a tassel on the end. One time when I was visiting my grandmother in Florida, I noticed she had a little container of toothpicks out at the dinner table. And they were colored. And I instantly flipped. I needed one of these. And then from then on, my Luke Skywalker had an amazing, nice lightsaber. It was pointed, it was rigid, it was long, and he could fight Darth Vader so well. So I grabbed a green toothpick for my Jedi Luke. I grabbed 2 blue ones, one for Luke and one for Ben, and a red one for Darth Vader. And these are those actual colored toothpicks. They have been painstakingly kept track of, basically just in the figure's arm, inside figure cases, my entire life. I played with them like that. When I was done with playing with Star Wars but was focusing on collecting them, I just kept them in there. They look way better. I do have most of the lightsabers now. I'm still looking for the official ones. But man, do they look so much better like this. Along with the variation about the lightsaber, there's also a variation in Luke's hair color. There's a Luke Skywalker with bright yellow hair as well as a Luke Skywalker with brown hair. They couldn't seem to mix the paint together and get a dirty blonde hair for some reason. I don't know. I think it's just the difference between 2 different factories, or maybe it was them trying to correct the likeness a little bit. I think the yellow hair is classic. It's iconic. It works well next to the Han Solo figure and kind of goes along with that simplistic nature to them and the not quite perfect character likenesses. The Luke Skywalker action figure based on Star Wars A New Hope was released as part of the Kenner Early Bird kit as well as carded for the entire run of the Kenner Star Wars toy line. There's a ton of them out there. They're not too hard to find, although the yellowing and the lack of lightsabers is a common problem. Thanks for watching this super exciting, outrageous toy review. Make sure to like, subscribe, and check out our other videos.